I got kicked out.
Okay, so I have just started recording. So if you'd like to turn your cameras off or blur your background, now is a great time to do that. Drew, were you going to say something then as I push
No, I
record?
said I got kicked out, so I think I missed the beginning.
Oh
Did
no,
you post?
no, I haven't
Okay.
started. This is the start.
Okay.
So no, I've literally just pushed record. We were just chatting for a few minutes before.
Great.
Okay, so I am going to share my screen. And at the moment you'll be looking at yourselves. So if I come over here, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Can you see a presentation
Yeah.
now?
Yes.
Look
Yeah.
at that. Okay, so we're going to do a deep dive into newsletter ideas. So I've put a variety of ideas together for you, which you can refer to if you're stuck or just want inspiration or just want to give your brain a rest and go, what's on this list? I'm going to use that this week. So I wanted to be able to provide you with a list that you could pick and choose that works with you, your style and your newsletter audience. So a lot of us will have newsletters made up of a variety of people. So there'll be fellow artists and there'll be art buyers and there'll be others. So there's a variety of audiences across our newsletters. So you could also use this as a list of Instagram posts. So there is no reason when you see this list why you couldn't use this to drive some of your posts as well for 30 days. And then below are the 30 I've come up with, but have a think about it as we go through. I'd love to see if there's any else we can add to our list. Okay, so I've numbered them. I've put 5 to a slide so that it just didn't look so overwhelming. But let's crack on. So number 1, showcase your latest artwork and share the inspiration behind it. Perfect for those of you selling, showcasing pieces of art in your newsletter with a direct link to purchase is fantastic. Likewise on Instagram, talk about showcase one of your latest pieces with a direct link of how to buy it. Those of you that are sharing from Instagram to a Facebook page. So if you've got an artist Facebook page that you share your post from one to the other, if you put the link in your comments post, so no, not in your comments post, but where you write your post in your Instagram, if you actually paste the link into there, it's not clickable on Instagram, but when you share it to Facebook, it becomes a clickable link. So just a little tip there if you're sharing your posts from one to the other. So offer a behind the scenes look into your creative process. That's always fun to chat about that in a newsletter and also such well received as an Instagram post. So share upcoming events, exhibitions or shows that you're participating in. Number 4, highlight the work of other artists that inspire you. So they could be other artists' friends, you could do a joint collaboration, or it could be other works from some of the other the masters that you've studied, you've enjoyed, you like their colour, what it is about it that you like, and why it inspires you. Anything like that is always great conversation. So number 5, offer exclusive sneak peeks or early access to your newest pieces. That's always a great thing to do to reward those that have signed up for your newsletters. So number 6, share your thoughts on current art trends and styles. Always a great conversation, particularly if you are diving into a book and you're really liking the style, or you might be doing something different, like some of you in book club might have been doing the urban sketching book and, you know, chatting about that style and have you tried it, your results, just general conversation about art trends and styles. So provide tips, techniques for aspiring artists. So there'll be people of different different levels following you, right from beginners right through. So always great to provide tips and techniques of something you're enjoying. Those of you again doing book club, you've got that book this month where you're trying some new mediums and things. Have a talk about that. That would be fun. So offer special discounts or promotions on your artwork. So if you've got some work that's been sitting for a while in your Etsy store, or from Instagram that hasn't sold, offer special discounts or promotions, or even just showcase them again, right? Share your favorite art supplies or tools and why you love them. Always a favorite. Line them up, talk about them. People love seeing what you're using. If you look at the Substack, people that are doing that on Substack, people that are certainly doing it on Patreon, that's why they are certainly getting a lot of those subscribers. People love seeing the tools you use. So offer a glimpse into your studio and your workplace, behind the scenes. Okay, number 11. Share the backstory and inspiration behind one of your most favorite pieces. Again, it could be a piece that you've done. It could be a piece that inspires you. So interview a fellow artist or creative entrepreneur. Fantastic for Instagram Lives if you want to go live with somebody, because what it does, it gives you exposure to both audiences. So going live is fantastic. Those of you with Substack newsletters, doing an interview on either recording it on Zoom or YouTube and then uploading it into your Substack, that's fun too. And I've seen some great ones recently where two artists have come together and have held a Zoom sketching session, and the two of them have done it together. It's actually really fun. So, think really outside the square there about working with others. And also those of you using ConvertKit, remember you can upload video there as well. So there's lots of options for getting creative with that. So share resources and opportunities for artists, such as grant opportunities, calls for submission, online art shows, etc. Some of that may apply to you, some of that won't. I love the online art show. There is a big one that happens in Australia that takes worldwide submissions, called Incognito, and that is such a fun art show. They open the doors of a weekend over a Saturday and a Sunday, and you can go in. Every piece is a standard size. They don't reveal which artist has painted which. They just put all the pieces up, and every piece sells for charity for $100. And then those that are left, they put online, and you can go purchase them online. It's fantastic. We might chat more about that. I've had some ideas about that leading on from our conversation last week around an art walk. So we're going to come back to that at the end. So offer a tutorial or a step-by-step guide to one of your art techniques. This is always a fun one, right? Again, it's a bit of a behind the scenes. It's a video process. Again, get creative with that. Always fun. And a great one for newsletters. Again, video being very cool in either of those. Or Instagram stories, reels, really great option for that. So 15, share your experience with a recent workshop or art course you attended. And I love this one, right? Those of you that are in the Insider Studio, where you've got a class, put those pieces, showcase all the pieces that you've done from that class together, and share that and talk about why you loved it, why that class made you create so much beautiful artwork, and share and promote that. There's so much around at the moment. Make sure that you are, sharing, and tag them. Artist teachers do love to see that. So tag them on Instagram and share links to them, or YouTube, or wherever in your newsletters, because that's adding such good value to your readers. Point 16, highlight a charity or cause you support with your artwork. So there's a few of you here that do this really well, and you talk about the charities that you support, and in every post you talk about, that the the money raised from the sale of this piece of art is going to support this charity. I love that, and it's a really great thing to do. So if you support a charity, sing it loudly, sing it proudly. Number 17, share a personal story or experience related to your art. I love this piece. So this is, the art of storytelling. Get creative. So in your newsletters, when you're showcasing a piece of art, get creative, talk about it. Or you've got a launch coming up and you're sharing the story behind what your launch is about. Get creative with the art of storytelling. It's a really great option, and you will find the words, because you're really passionate about it, that it will be really easy to write in a newsletter, and also, fantastic for your Instagram posts. So number 18, offer a look into your creative journey and the evolution of your art style. I've seen this a few times in newsletters, and it is fantastic. Like the piece of art you very first created or in your early days, and then what you're creating now, and talk about the difference. Talk about why you started and how your art has evolved. That's such a fun piece and really engaging. Really, I love seeing those in newsletters. So number 19, share your favorite art books or documentaries. I can't speak, documentaries, and why you would recommend them. Again, always a really engaging thing to do in newsletters. Stack of books and talk about them, rate them, talk about why you like them. A really great way to fill in a weekly newsletter. And then if you've got a particular interest in sketching or watercolor or whatever it might be, get your favorite books on that subject and stack them up and talk about them. And again, with documentaries or movies that you've watched that are art related, again, talk about them and why you enjoyed them. So number 20, showcase how your art can be purchased. This seems really obvious, but we often forget it, right? Every time we talk about something or we showcase a piece, we're talking about our collection. Showcase how you can purchase your art, or even just do a whole newsletter on, I love that you're being here, and talk about the things that you've got coming up, and then just literally tell them, to view my art and make a purchase, go here, and you can add all the links in, right? On Instagram, every post that you talk about your art should have a link on how to make that purchase. So 21, share your experience with social media marketing for artists. So remember, you are at a place where you have learned to be. There are a lot of people coming behind you who are not at that place yet. So share what you do, share what you enjoy, share if you enjoy making reels, share and talk about it. So just, share about the things that you enjoy doing with social media, because a lot of artists, particularly those artists with newsletters, they are in the same boat as you, right? They know that they are or have to engage with their audience off Instagram. And Instagram can become, and other social media channels can become pretty hard with them. So if you're doing something and you're doing it differently, share, talk about it. Also, if you're trying Substack or something else, share and talk about that experience. So though that makes great newsletter content, it also promotes what you're doing, and make sure you've got links everywhere so that people can go follow you. So if you're talking about your experience and I've put together a Substack and this is what I'm going to do there, make sure you've got that link so people can go and subscribe. So number 22, offer a look into your process for creating custom art pieces or commissions. That may or may not apply to everybody, but it does apply to some of you. And a great way to highlight that in your newsletters and talk about it, showcase some of the pieces you've done previously. And likewise on Instagram, if you've done a custom piece or a commission, you'll be highlighting that on Instagram as such. So make sure that you are showcasing those in both places. And then number 23, share your tips for balancing a creative calling with other aspects of your life. This is always a tricky one, right? So, and always leads to great conversation and great commentary on Instagram, but also really, really engaging in your newsletters, because everybody is in the same boat as us. Everybody wants to be creating. We are creative people, but then we've also got other things in our life. So sharing how you balance that journey is a great newsletter topic. And again, a really great Instagram post. So 24, provide a list of upcoming art events or exhibitions you recommend attending in your area and or online. So if you know of any online art events or exhibitions that are happening close to you or even somewhere else, because remember our audiences are global, then, you know, share them. You just never know. As particularly like with the online, because we are such a global market, online is always fun. You know, there's some great exhibitions that are available all over the world that you can view online. So if you come across any, share them. And yeah, people, like, now that our world has opened up again, that seems to have gone off the boil. And I think it's just because people have forgotten that you can still do that, right? So share and talk. Number 25, share your experience with navigating art galleries or shows and submitting your artwork for consideration. So there's a few people in this membership who've had some fantastic success recently for submitting some of their artwork to be included in exhibitions and showcases, and some with art galleries also. So if you've got experience in that, share it, you know, share it with the others, and or those that subscribe to your newsletter, and also share it on Instagram. Really great engagement education pieces. So point 26, share your thoughts on your art collection, style, color, and what makes it a cohesive collection. This is fun, right? So this is if you've got a collection that you're launching and it's similar and its style, color, you know, everything about it is a cohesive collection. Talk about what inspired you, talk about it, share it, talk about the materials you used. If you've got collage in there, talk about it. A really great way to fill newsletter real estate. And again, a fantastic, excuse me, got a frog in my throat. And a fantastic Instagram content idea as well. So 27, share your thoughts on the role of art in society and its ability to inspire change. When I was typing this in yesterday, I'm like, I really love how deep this is. So, you know, what do you hope that your art is going to be like in 20 years' time? You know, what do you feel your art has as a role in society? And is there an ability to inspire change? And can I tell you, the fact that you guys are all here and the fact that you guys are showcasing your art on Instagram automatically inspires change. So have a think about that. Go deep. People just lap this stuff up, and I'm going to do this myself. Actually, I've been thinking this is the one item that I have been thinking about for the last few days since I've been working on this presentation, that I'm really excited to crack into. So offer 28, sorry, number 28. Offer a look into your creative influences and the artists who've inspired you. So we've seen some of those before, but this time it's more the artists that have inspired you. And it could be anybody. It could be, you know, somebody that you're learning work from now. It can be a master. It could be, you know, somebody's style that you admire because they're so loose and free. And then talk about how you bring that into your own artwork. So number 29, highlight the process of creating a specific piece of artwork from conception to completion. And if you sketch your pieces out first, talk about that and even the materials that you use to sketch, and then how that translates into the bigger piece. Or even if you're planning compositions in your sketchbook, you know, talk about that whole process of thinking about a collection and how it comes to life. So from, you know, soup to nuts, start to finish, the whole process is a wonderful topic for a newsletter, and fun for a collection or a series of Instagram content posts also. Now, this is interesting, isn't it? My words have run together. How interesting. So point 30, it should say, showcase a recent accomplishment or milestone in your art career. When I copy and paste that, I will fix that. Huh, look at that. The E became, no, the A is missing. That's weird. Okay, so showcase recent accomplishments or milestones in your art career. And it could be a sellout collection, some pieces you've sold. It can be anything. So talk about it, share it, put it into your newsletters, and use it on Instagram. And, you know, you can do this over and over again. So there's 30 items here. So you can pick and choose. You can rinse and repeat, right? Especially on Instagram. Nobody goes through your feed to see whether you are repeating. And remember, only a small amount of your audience actually sees your posts at any one time. So rinse and repeat. Just, you know, if something works well, keep an eye on your analytics, rinse it, repeat it, change the image. If you need to change the text, check your hashtags still work, repost it. So we're all about reposting and sharing, and just, you know, there's 30 ideas here. So I'm certain that you can get a good few from there. So what are some of the ideas that have worked for you? So I'm going to turn the presentation off now. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm really keen to hear, if you're doing a newsletter, what subjects you're using. Will these topics be helpful? And if there's any others, we can add to the list. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing now, and we'll come back to the group. So are there any others that you think would be good on that list, or any from that list that you're going to give a try, that you've been thinking about as we've been going through, thinking, I think that would work great for me, I'm going to give that a crack? Come off mute and let's chat.
I used the one where you what was the sharing the process and the favorite products. Pretty much, I don't have a newsletter, but I use most of what you mentioned today, or some of it anyway, whenever I post on Instagram, because I feel the most valuable thing you can do on Instagram is share something that's more than just the art, because most people won't. I mean, some people save it just by seeing the art because they save it, so maybe they can go back if they're artists.
Yeah.
But I think anyone else, they like extra things, and so usually I use carousel posts, and on the third or fourth slide, I might have the photo of my supplies or of a book that inspired it, and I feel like that leads to saves and shares. And the more something is shared, the more likely you're going to get like crazy reach.
That's right. And the more saves. And what that leads to is the education. So educational posts are really valuable. And by sharing process, supplies, books, those sorts, you are educating your audience. So absolutely.
But what I want to try is what you mentioned, is maybe sharing not just a book that's an art book, but maybe like an artist, like an established artist. Someone, I don't know, from a museum, like I went to this museum, this is my favorite painting. I think that could be very good for engagement as well.
And you know, it could be something really simple. Like I purchased a magazine during the week, and in fact, I've got my notebook resting on it, like Australian Country Style. And the reason I purchased it is because I wanted to use it for sketching inspiration. It's got some wonderful homes in it. When I got to the counter, the Country Style 2023 diary was on sale for $2. And I went, I'm going to flick through, right? And look, it has the most magnificent images in there, which would be fantastic for creating. So it's like this little $2 book, well, it's a diary, but the inspiration that I'm going to get from this for sketching and painting is phenomenal. So it can just be something really simple and people will go, oh, that's a good idea. I bet you where I live has got, like, you'll see lots of these type of planners around. So, you know, just it can be just something like that, and share, you know, what it is and why it's inspired you. And again, it just lends itself to that education piece.
What really works well too is what you also mentioned today is either collaborating with someone else or like I have some of my favorite artists, and when I do something that was even the slightest bit inspired by them, I tag them. I'm like, oh, you should check out this artist. She does da 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 da, and this piece today was inspired by this aspect of her art. And there's a couple of one that I've tagged them so many times. So at this point now they follow me, even though they're like huge accounts. And if they have a book, even better, then I can mention the book that they published, or maybe the class I took. And that usually has that whole ripple effect of now maybe their followers are going to see my stuff. And again, if they save it and they share it, it's like when I do the analytics on my post, if something is shared, it's like it explodes. And if it's not shared, and only a little bit safe, then it's one of those stale posts.
And that's like a great reminder. If you are sharing anything of anybody else's, so if somebody's inspired you, whether you've done a YouTube class, so say you've done something with Sandy Hester on YouTube and you've created something, when you share it to your stories, tag her in it, because one, it gives her a massive like, oh cool, somebody's seen my YouTube video and got some value out of it, but also she's likely to share it as well. Right, she's likely to share it to her Instagram stories.
Same with brands.
Like absolutely
in my stories always. And there's a couple, especially handmade paint makers, anyone, you know, that company where I just bought the gouache in Canada, Stone Ground Paint Company. They now follow me. They've shared everything I posted in their stories that I did. So I'm like, and
with newsletters, so with newsletters you don't get that same, but what I would do is if you're talking about something in your newsletter, that same day I would post it on Instagram, so you do get the exposure that way as well. So you kind of have a double bang at it, right? So or even the day before, you could do a little tease on your Instagram the day before and go, you know, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about something that's inspired me to make my latest collection, and you could do a little tease on it. Make sure you've joined my newsletter subscription above, you know, and come and see what's inspiring me. Or the supplies one is massive. If you can share the supplies you use and why you like them, it is a really engaging way to talk with people, particularly so for fear of overwhelming you, and please don't, I hope that this doesn't overwhelm you, when you share supplies and talk about the things that you like, you can also become an Amazon affiliate, right? So have an Amazon store, sign up to be an Amazon affiliate, have an Amazon store, and when you're talking about the supplies that you like, go make yourself a little, you know, my favorite tools and put them all in there. And then when you're talking about them in your newsletter, just send a direct link to that item in your shop. So a lot of people do that, and it's easy. Hang on, Michelle. Danny's just got her hand up. Let me just quickly scoot to Danny. Sorry, Danny.
No, I was just going to say that for me, they sort of sending a newsletter and an email. Now, sometimes it can be blurred into the same thing, possibly. Do you agree with that?
So my newsletter is an email.
Okay. All right. So for me, I am looking at sort of, I'm quite busy. People around me are quite busy. So I'm keeping things short, but I also want them to get to know me and what I'm doing in the week. So I'm keeping to that sort of stuff for the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Substack, right? So I'm talking about, say ConvertKit. So ConvertKit newsletters is an email. And again, I have shortened mine. When I first started, mine were War and Peace. And I completely, I'll be honest, it was all about me. I didn't think about the reader. I didn't care about the reader. I was just getting my message out, right? Now that my inbox is, I can't even tell you at the end of every week, I'm like, so I am very conscious that I am now just adding to that. So I have completely shortened my emails, and actually I've changed the frequency. I'm no longer doing weekly with the Organised Artist. I'm jotting my topics down and making them fortnightly. Yeah. Just because it's like, you know what, it's actually not about me. It's not about me at all. It's about the poor reader I'm sending this to, expecting them to read it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I have changed what I do in that space as well. And I think
Yeah,
it's actually because we are, like, you're mindful of your own email inbox, and think about, pay attention to the ones that you're reading. So why are you reading the one that you were reading? Is it because the subject line, you saw it in your inbox and the subject line got your attention? Or is it because it's from somebody that you know, like, and trust? Have a think when, over the next week, pay a conscious attention to what makes you read the newsletters you read, and why did you open that one? So if it's a random one from somebody you don't usually open them from, those regular ones that you open, you're going to open them anyway, regardless, right? But it's those random ones that you open them. Pay attention to why you're opening them.
Well, I had a very productive day today, and I sent my first unaided email from my mailing list.
I read it early this morning,
FEA
Danny.
Create, and then I went on to Substack and I sent my first sort of thing on Substack. So I was quite proud of myself. But I also realized throughout the day that ages ago I'd set up a Facebook page connected to my Facebook account, and that when I thought I was sharing a lot of stuff via Instagram to Facebook, it was going to this hidden page with notes that I hadn't published.
Okay.
So I had to sort that out today. So just
so have you done that? Now you've done that?
I've sorted it out and deleted it, but it just is something to keep, if you just keep track of where things are going, in other words.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't hurt every once in a while to go through and think about, is this still serving me well? You'll see yesterday, day before, can't remember, I changed the banner on the Artist Networking Group and called it Artist Networking Group, because that's what I want it to be. It's actually not about the Organised Artists at all. It's about the Artist Networking Group. So I've completely given it, and I have to say, I love my banner. Did you see the collage I put? I hope you saw it. I'm just like, I am so clever. So I laughed. I said I was well chuffed with, don't I say well chuffed with the way it came out or something? And somebody said, what's chuffed? I'm like, I did good. I did a good job. I'm chuffed with myself, which Ian and I debated that term a lot last night, and he decided that it was an English term, Danny. Yeah. Now, Drew, you had your hand up, hun. Did you have a question?
I did. I didn't have a question so much as a comment that I agree with what I can't remember what number it was, but I love to see Alex's process.
Yeah.
And I also love to do things like I have done a few similar art pieces, but not in a while. So it's my intention to do some more and to let her know that I was inspired by her to get back to that. But
yes,
also,
absolutely.
And I forget what other number it was, but the first person that popped into my head was Chris excelling at it's Wednesday tip or it's Tuesday tip day or
Yeah.
something. I just love that.
Yeah,
And
so do I. And I
I was
look
gonna
for
say-
them, right? So Chris has
Yes,
been doing
yes.
those now for a few weeks, and I
Mhm.
now know she's doing them, and I look for them. And that's what we're
And-
talking about, right? That is exactly
Yes.
what we're talking about.
And I've done something even more extreme that maybe most people haven't done. But a few years right before the pandemic, there was an artist I follow who lives in Minneapolis. Her moniker is Woodlucker. She does makes phenomenal things out of paper, and I loved her feed so much and the way she did it that I actually sent her a text message saying, "Hey, I'm going to be visiting my daughter. I'm on Instagram. This is who I am. Is there any chance I could meet you?" Because she just so inspired me. Do you know she was gracious enough? And my daughter and my tiny grandson and I went to her studio, which was just, and now she follows me.
Yeah.
And it's so nice. It's just so nice to have seen too how because she's been an artist many more years than I have, but the things that she's done through the pandemic, and it's just fascinating to me. And
Yeah.
I was like, what's the worst she was going to do is tell me no. Like if I come to Australia, I can guarantee you I'm going to be messaging you, girl.
You're coming to stay. What are you talking about?
I just think, I realize that's the extreme extent of it, but I think too that's maybe one of the positive things. That's also, this was pre-pandemic, but
Yeah,
I
but
think we do
even
so much more
since,
via Zoom.
absolutely. And the relationships that we make through connections exactly like we're doing now is what brought me to meet Erica when she came to Australia. So she was coming to catch
Yes.
up with a college friend on the Sunshine Coast. And I'm like, that's 2 hours from me. I'm just going to drive. Anyway, it turned out they were going to Byron Bay, where they've got to drive right past where I live. And they decided when they saw where I live, they were like, oh, we're going to stay for 2 nights. So they came and stayed. So I actually got to meet her and have lunch with her, which was just, just incredible. But it comes from literally painting together and networking together and being together and sharing and learning and just building relationships, because we are all like-minded.
Yeah, and before I mute myself, I just want to say too how much I've enjoyed watching Danny with her sketchbook trip. You too with your new adventure, but to see the king. But I mean, it's just been fascinating because it's just a whole different perspective,
isn't it? And can I just say that we can all learn from Danny, and this is actually my whole purpose around Australian country, is I watch Danny talk about the UK and sketching the UK and getting out and about and doing what she's doing. We all live in different places, right? Yeah. So we all have the opportunity to piggyback on that. And that's where I'm wanting my next part of my art journey to take me, is down that path. And I'm really excited about it because I ultimately want it to lead to travel. So I want it to lead bigger than my backyard. Say again, Drew?
I said, thanks for letting me jibber jabber.
Oh, always, Drew. Love it when you jibber jabber. And Drew, before you go on mute, there were some great ones in there around charity too, which I know is very close to your heart. So, and you and I have spoken about that. So I did think about you actually as I was writing that and putting that in. And likewise, Chris.
Yes.
Yeah. That's cool. And likewise you, Chris, with your average Australian housewife. I loved that collection and the storytelling behind it, and what beautiful fodder that would make for newsletters. Yeah, just really great. So what else are people doing? Danny, I love that you started your newsletter. Congratulations on both the newsletter front and the Substack front. And I'm right behind you on Substack. I've done one post. Isn't it funny? I really want to do a flip because I'm now working out of 3 sketchbooks. I really wanted to do a video flip, and I'm getting myself caught up with the technology. Like, it's stupid. It's actually not the technology. It's the lighting. It's the Australian lighting in the window in my shed is so bright that it's actually quite distorting. So I'm like, I need to figure that out. I need to stop overthinking it, actually, is what I need to do. So we all have these challenges. We all face them. Michelle.
I was going to say earlier, I think it had to do with what Danny was saying too. Miss Mustard Seed does a good job of when she does the blogging, and I guess she has a newsletter because I get emails. But when she posts on the blog, she'll send out an email and it'll say on the blog today, and talk about different things that are happening on her blog. So as a way to kind of tie the two together.
Yes, a Substack does that really nicely. I'm actually going to just see what she uses, Michelle. Substack does that lovely. So when you do a new post on Substack, it emails your subscribers. And I do like that it does that because it takes the, and then
her email actually chats at you too and tells you what's there and what you can find there, and it'll have links in it, so I don't know how it's a lot of work, but she does a good thing on both ends.
Yeah. I'm just looking actually at her website is very impressive. My goodness me.
You know Miss Mustard Seed, I talk about her all the time.
Yes, I do know Miss Mustard Seed. I have purchased her course.
Yeah.
Which is going to die in my course. It's not, because I bought all the supplies to do it. I'm just trying to see what system she uses. I don't know. It looks to be like it's a blog on Protect. I was just trying to get to the bottom to see who it's powered by. So it looks to be just part of her website, actually. But yeah, her website is very impressive. But essentially, a Substack will, every time you post something in your Substack, whether it's a blog post, it's video, it's a podcast of you speaking, whatever it might be, that will email your audience to say, Alison Lake Artist has just posted a new whatever. It does that.
Yeah. Well, this one's actually really personable too. So it kind of goes in both hands. If you've got people who don't want your emails, then they're following you on your blog or your Instagram. And then if you have people who like the emails, but they just don't get to the blogs. Yeah. I guess she's got a way of, making it really personable on both ends. But anyways, that was just added. I'm storing up all this stuff in my mind.
So Danny, I'm just looking at your Substack. Well done. Yeah, it's easy, right? It's easy, especially on a Mac where you've got everything all together. On a laptop. So just a tip about Substack, those of you who are venturing down this space, you have to post from a laptop or a desktop. You cannot create a post from your mobile phone. So just I'm sure they're going to get that fixed. I'm sure they are going to get that fixed, but just a little word of warning. Okay, any other newsletter ideas? Anything that you're keen to try? Was that list helpful? Was that list helpful for newsletter ideas and or Instagram post ideas? Oh, thanks, Angela.
I thought it was great. Oh.
So say, Michelle, go first, and then Drew, I'll come to you.
I was just saying, I thought it was great, and I'm always a week or two behind because I have to think about what we all talked about before. But this week, the rinse repeat idea, I was like, oh. So what I did is I went back to last year or maybe the year before, and I just picked today's date 2 years ago. Yeah. And whatever I posted that day, I found the picture and I made a fresh information. But that way it helped me because, usually I take a picture of whatever I have on the machine and finish that day. Then I'll take a picture and talk about it. But you know, I'm at a
Absolutely.
loss. So,
Rinse and repeat is the best thing
and,
ever, right?
and it just, that way you don't have to think too hard. You can just go,
no.
especially because, you know, people order things in swells. So it'll be all the same designs for 6 weeks. And then something else gets popular.
And
So,
even, you know, I'm going to copy and paste that list into the description. So even if you copy and paste that list out and stick it in the front of your diary and cross out the ones that don't apply, and you might be left with, you might get rid of 10 and go, you know, that's not where I'm at. And you might be left with 20. Work your way through 1 to 20 and then start again 1 to 20. Because each time the image or the content of that is going to be different, but it's going, you know, it's going to be a different book, or it's going to be a different artist, or it's going to be a different collection, or it's going to be, but at least it gives you a map and you don't have to think about it. I'm all about rinse and repeat. Chris, you look deep in thought. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm just, you know, thinking about all the things I want to talk about.
And that is precisely why I wanted to do this list, because it's not a, okay, I'm going to do, you've got to mull it over for a bit, right? You know, that one about your impact on art, on a society. You know, as I said, I was doing grocery shopping last night and I was thinking about that. You know, it's just, you think about random things at random times, but just finding what works. And, you know, I'll make that list. Do you want me to put it on a PDF that you can just print? Is that going to be easier than copy and pasting it? What's going to be easy for you guys to print? Yeah, you just copy and paste. Okay, that's cool. I'll just list them out 1 to 30, because I know last week when I did that with the ideas that we had last week, I got so many messages saying thank you for putting them in the body of the post. It, you know, it meant that if people are time poor, you don't have to go watch the whole video again, right? It's there. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Any lasting thoughts? No? Before we move on to our next topic? No? Okay. So at the end of last week, those of you that were here, we were talking about what we were going to do after this quarter. So where are we going to go next? Now, I currently have the doors of the lab open until the end of May, and then they are closing and they won't open again this year, because I want us to deep dive into some really good projects and, you know, kick some big hairy goals that we've got to do this year. We'll be halfway through, well, we'll be 5 months into the year at the end of May. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to offer up an incentive for you guys to talk about it and to get some new members in. So I've changed where you join the lab. I've got a referred by, and I'm going to set up a competition, and it will come out at some stage this week, where this coming week, probably, I'm going to try and get to it over the weekend actually, where if you share and people join on the back of your share, they can put your name as referred by, and both of you, so both the person and you, can go in the draw to win membership for a year. So I will stop your payments, and you and your friend will both get membership for a year. So it'll be on a draw basis. So when I post it, share the post far and wide, and it'll be so that when the new person joins and they fill in the referred, both those two names will go into the draw.
Wow.
All right. So, for example, Chris, if you refer somebody and I draw yours out, it will be Chris, your payment gets cancelled for the year, and then your new person also gets. So basically, it's giving people an option to get in now before I close the doors to the end of the year. I'm just conscious that it can be a bit disruptive when new people come in, and I just I want to get them sorted in June so that when we kick off July, everybody is on the same page. All right. So I'm really conscious about that. So I'm here to serve you guys. But one last influx of members for the year would be fantastic. The other thing is our launch project, or our project that we're going to kick off in July. Keep thinking about that. Keep thinking about what you would like that to be. I love the idea, and I'm not sure who brought it up. I think it might have been you, Michelle, last week, about the virtual art walk. That was you, wasn't it, last week? I would love, and this is me thinking out loud, because again, I think all sorts of things. I need a notebook. Should see my shopping list when I come back from shopping, because I clearly don't pay attention to what I'm putting in my basket. I'm thinking about what I'm doing here. And I was thinking I would love us to do a virtual art walk. So almost like a global virtual artwork, and we'll do a page for it. We'll have them all highlighted. People can purchase, we can all share, and we all submit, and we decide the number together. You know, how many pieces are we each going to submit to the artwork? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 6? Whatever it might be. And we'll do almost like a virtual global art show. How fun would that be?
Really good.
So we will do it inside of the Artist Lab group. So that's why I want the doors to close, because I just don't want people coming in on the back of taking, do you know what I mean? I want everybody in and everybody I just don't want people coming in during that time and taking advantage of all the hard work that you guys have put in. So that's why the doors are a hard close at the end of May. So that we can get people in and they can get across the idea and what needs to happen. It's not compulsory, not everybody needs to be in it, but it's a really great idea to get people.
It's a good goal to make you do it.
Yeah.
Have a reason to do it. And it's not
you know
about,
what? Maybe our launch.
buying my things. I just, why am I doing this? Instead, it'll be like, oh, I'm part of something and I need to.
Yeah. And maybe our launch project is getting ready for that. Right. So maybe our launch project isn't a whole quarter. It might be, you know, and we could have a chat about it. It might be, you know, how long do you think we need to get ready for it? Because there's going to be a lot of promotion, as in behind the scenes creating, and there's going to be a lot of stuff leading into the virtual, you know, and we'll decide what we're going to call it. Are we going to call it a global art walk? Are we going to call it a global art show? I think it needs to be global because we are truly global. And I think global just kind of people go, wow, you know, it's we are so used to being this global group that we take it for granted. But trust me, when you say that I paint, you know, I say with people, oh no, I can't do that early on Saturday morning. I can't come to breakfast. I'm painting with my friends from around the world. What do you mean? Oh yeah, we do a Zoom, we paint, you know, it's a global. They're like, you're kidding me, you know. So we are so used to it that we kind of take it for granted, but it is impressive. So I think we need to have the word global in there. And yeah, let's think about it. And maybe that's what our launch project is. So, you know, the launch project is the lead up to that. We need to figure out when we're going to do it. So, you know, July and August, I know, are really busy months. Lots of people are away, kids are on holiday, lots of stuff going on. So we brainstorm, we think about it. If anybody has any ideas, shoot me a message. I think we have got our timeline set till the end of June, and maybe so I've got our May hot seat interview locked in. Thank you, Michelle is going to talk to us about all things and her experience with Etsy, which is really extensive. And then June, we might swap some of those weeks around and have a brainstorming session on what that's going to look like in June, because then we'll have our new members in also, and we'll have shut the doors. So yeah, have a think about that, and if that's something that you'd like to do. And again, it is absolutely not compulsory. I just want to make that clear from the outset. I don't want to lead to anybody's overwhelm, but it will be fun. It will be fun. So have a think about that. And then before, yes.
Ellie. So I just want to say, back on the Refer the Lab, it took me a while to get into the Artist Network because I was trying to do it from my phone, and then the password was an issue. But a woman that posted, she's in Orange County, California, and so am I. So I reached out to her, and she was originally in Amanda's group. Yeah. But then I said something about that I'm in the lab, and she's like, well, what's the lab? So that's a good thing. I mean, I know there's some rules on the Artist Network, but even from there, that I was surprised that she was in it, but she didn't know about the lab. Yeah,
interesting. I am a bit careful about, I don't want the artist network to be all about me and my promotion. So I'm kind of really sensitive about that. I want it to be a true artist network. But in
Yeah.
saying that, when I've got the lab, you know, your chance to win your membership for a year and, you know, the person that you refer, I will definitely put that in there. Yeah.
I was just surprised because I thought the network came out of the lab. So I might have missed that memo of that. That's why I was just surprised.
No, well, no, not really. It was birthed separately. And really because I was getting a lot of feedback from people who were leaving memberships that when they felt that when they left a membership or changed art teachers or, you know, went from one to something else, that they were going to lose the network that they'd built up already. And I'd had that from a number of sources. And I'm like, you know, Instagram is such a fickle place at the moment that we may or may not see each other's posts. And I'm kind of like, we are all doing the same thing essentially, right? We are all learning and sharing and, you know, wanting to connect with each other, that I would create this separate Facebook group for that. And literally it didn't matter then what membership you were in, what course you were taking, even if you weren't in one, right? Because we all learn off YouTube, we learn off a gazillion different places, that we could all come together under one roof and stay connected with one another. Yeah.
I was confused about that too, so you're not alone, Mary Beth.
Oh, okay.
Good to know.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to do a post in there about that.
Like I say, I think it took, I think I tried 4 times, and because I have recovery codes from Facebook and they don't use them anymore, and I was on my phone and didn't have the password.
So to get into the networkers Facebook group?
Yeah, so to get in the network one, when I would try to join it, it said, you have set up recovery codes where we don't use them anymore. What's your password? And I wouldn't have my password with me. So then I went and actually did it on my laptop. So then I had my password book and everything, and it let me, I had to go, then I got a notice on my phone where somebody just logged in on their laptop.
Yeah.
So I had to do it that way. Like I said, I tried 4 times and couldn't get in. So, but now I'm in.
That sounds like a Facebook issue. That seems very strange, because I get quite a lot of requests a day. A lot of them I decline. It's a,
you know,
basically I'm
I
quite
saved my
strict with it.
recovery codes in such a good place. I don't know where I saved them, of course. So, you know.
Being very secure. And I get a lot of requests on there for people to join, and I also decline a lot. So if people don't answer the questions, I actually decline them. And then I usually send them a message and just say, hey, I can see you belong to other artist groups. Please, you know, request to come in again and complete the questions. Yeah.
And then
because
just
I want to keep it
about,
safe. Yeah.
That you know, when you had your challenge last month, I tried to be good and subscribe to everyone else's newsletter when I could see it pop up. And now my email is just inundated. So I decided I'm going to start a separate email just for all the subscriptions, because it's so hard to go through to read people's newsletters or Substack from the real business. So I haven't done that yet, but if you guys see me leaving and coming back, that's why, because I'm going to switch emails.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that is a good idea, actually. I essentially do that. So I've got a Gmail that I use for my newsletters, and then I've got my support at the Organised Artists that I use for my work stuff, because it is off the Richter scale. You know, it is crazy. And of course, I subscribe to a lot of other people's for their free attachments and stuff as well, because it's a great way of learning what other people are doing and how other people are doing it. And I'm a sponge. I just love all that stuff. So so I do that. As do I hope you guys do too. Like when you're subscribing to people's newsletters, making a conscious decision about, are they giving away something? Is it something that you can learn from? Because remember, you can always get it and then unsubscribe. All right, you can always do that. Is there anything else before we finish off?
I'm just gonna say something. When you changed the name of the networking group, I think that is going to help people to realize that the Organized Artist Lab is separate
Mm.
from that.
It's exactly
Yeah.
why I did it too, Chris.
And it's easier
Exactly
to
why I
say.
took, yeah,
It's
It's
easier to say.
yeah.
and
That's
type.
exactly why I did it. And I changed the banner completely, and I changed the name so that, because nobody referred to it as the hub. Even I didn't. I referred to it as the networking group. So it's like, why don't I, if it quacks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's a duck. Just change the name. So I did. Yes. So yes, thank you, Chris. I'm happy about that. I hope that that does alleviate some of the confusion. All learning, right? We are all learning all of the time.
Well, that's a good example of how you can just change a name.
Absolutely.
And it's not, I mean, and you don't get it right the first time,
Yeah,
sometimes.
Yeah.
And you
And things
your
evolve and
heart,
change.
your heart says, I've got to change it. I can't. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's allowed.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's about going, why did I start this group? This group actually isn't about me at all. It's actually about you guys, right? It's just I wanted to build a place where everybody could come and play. It's not about me. So I'm like,
I
okay.
don't know, Allie. It is about your good talents in your organization. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this. So, it's so great.
Oh, you're so gracious. Thank you.
Yes, maybe. On that.
Oh, look at you. Oh, you know how to make a girl feel good at 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning.
Tough.
I'm chuffed. Absolutely. I'm
I
chuffed.
read Harry Potter. I listen to Jim Dale read to me. I'm chuffed.
I'm chuffed. I know. There you go. All right. Well, it's just after the top of the hour. If anybody has anything else, now's a great time to speak up. Otherwise, we'll see you same time next week. Anybody? Don't forget paint along
Happy
tomorrow
Mother's Day.
if you're around. Yes, Mother's Day for me tomorrow. Mother's Day for you ladies.
Happy Mother's
That
Day.
it applies to on Sunday. So
I
yes,
see my
happy
kids
Mother's Day.
tomorrow.
Oh, how lovely. Enjoy.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen them since they came for my husband's surgery, so I'm
Enjoy.
excited.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a great weekend and see some of you tomorrow at Paint Along. Otherwise, I'll see you next week.
Yep.
Take care.
Good
Bye.
night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.